Welcome to the podcast with wings, the TABtouch Greyhound Jet Set. Strap yourselves in while host David Shortte and the Shayne Train Williams take you on a flight around the country, sourcing winners and the latest news on the big two meetings in WA as well as the Meadows and Wentworth Park. The boys will be joined by East Coast experts Jaycin Campbell and Corey Smith. We'll pass on mail from some of WA's top kennels and get to know our industry members. You're at the pointy end of the plane for this week's edition of the TABtouch Greyhound Jet Set.
Hello and welcome along to the TABtouch Greyhound Jet Set podcast for another week. David Shortte with you. Hope you're travelling particularly well. Looking forward to rolling up the sleeves and finding plenty of winners for you over the next hour. We will be catching up with the Shayne Train. He's over in South Australia with a couple of greyhounds that have trialled particularly well, aiming up towards the SA Derby next week. Also, our regulars to join us throughout the course of the program. Jaycin Campbell to analyse Wentworth Park. Corey Smith will have a look at the Meadows. We'll get Bones Harman to have a look at Darwin on Sunday, and the Kennel Mail, the Credelli brothers, and also Lukey Townsend, who's been seeing them particularly well. That's all ahead in today's edition of the Jet Set. Let's roll straight up, though, and see if we can have a chat just before where you get to the pilots. He's right up there in seat 1A, as always, the Shayne Train Williams. Hello, Shane-o.
Good morning, Shorty. Good morning, listeners. Very good to be catching up with you today, Shorty. In rain-soaked South Australia today, the rain's out and about, unlike yesterday. It was a warm 28, 30-degree day yesterday, so hopefully the floods don't appear today, Shorty.
Well, what is the vibe like, Train? Because overnight we saw Port Adelaide go in a well-backed $1.32 favourite to knock off Geelong in the first of the AFL finals last night, and it was an absolute disaster with the power going down by some 80 points and their key playmaker in Zach Butters suffering rib damage. What's the vibe like around SA after that performance last night?
It was pretty quiet and sombre at the track last night, Shorty. I had my Geelong Cats jumper on, so I wasn't very popular. It was an absolute massacre. So I'm getting out to Gawler today, so I'll be able to get a bit more of a feel for the participants out there and how they're feeling about that massacre last night.
Yeah, indeed. Maybe just if you want a little bit more love, maybe leave the Cats jumper at home for today, and they might get a drink or two purchased for you throughout the course of the day. Just quickly, we will get to kennel mail and stuff a bit later on, but the reason you're over in South Australia, you've got two of your very talented young dogs across there for a tilt at the SA Derby, and you've sent through last night great news. Both greyhounds have clearly settled in particularly well. Iconic Jet went 30 and 26, and then Rip and Moses 30 and 42. They're excellent times, and to give it some perspective for people that don't know the Angle Park times all that well, national sprint winner Miss Envy went across and trialled. I think she went 30-23 or 30 and 24 prior to winning that Group 1 national sprint final. So Iconic Jet's gone right up there with what we saw of Miss Envy, and you'll be hoping for a similar result, group success.
Yeah, they went really good, Shorty. To be honest, they've settled in really well. They had a really good flight over, and I've got to thank Jet Pets and Virgin for really looking after the dogs. They've travelled over really well, and Nicole Price, where I'm staying, her facilities are outstanding. So I've just noticed, a bit of a spring in their step since they've been here. They're not flat. They're settled in well. So I was really expecting them to run well last night, and I'm glad they are. I mean, you don't get carried away, Shorty. You can get box 6 next week and get knocked over, but look, they've had a really good preparation for this, and I think when you target these races, the best thing for you to do is get over there, settle in, get used to the new surroundings, and the dogs have really settled in well. And yeah, I was really happy with Iconic Jet, 30 and 26, Shorty. He's done it mostly in the run home, which is a bit surprising. He's sort of been getting a bit stronger every run he's had. So, and Rip and Moses, he's gone super as well. I thought, he's probably 2 lengths off Iconic Jet. I would have said probably 4 or 5 lengths off him, but they both handled the track really well. I've got to say as well, Shorty, I got really well looked after by everyone last night. The stewards and the track staff and the kennel staff couldn't be more helpful. So big shout out to Greyhound Racing South Australia as well.
Excellent. It was a good 12-race program too. Like that card there last night. And speaking to Sean Matheson on Great Greys yesterday, Train, it sounds like there's going to be a big influx of quality young chasers for these heats next week. So I look forward to having a chat to you on Great Greys and indeed on this program next week, and really having a good deep dive into how that's all shaped up. What has caught your eye? You're over in South Australia. Is there much caught your eye?
Yeah, well, Well, we're just nearly almost touched on it then, Shorty. Just the quality of the dogs that are coming over. I mean, Glenn Rounds trialled on Wednesday night. We had Charmaine Roberts come and trial dogs. Also, Matt Lenigan and Jeff Britton. Anthony has a party trialling Saturday. So they're all here trying to kick off their young dogs campaigns in here. So I think it's going to be a really good series. And not just to mention that, Shorty, I thought the Mandurah Cup heats at home, we discussed it yesterday on Great Grays, absolutely outstanding. The depth there is rivaled to any big cup race anywhere in Australia, I think, and that just goes to show the strength that we've got over there, Shorty. Only one dog has come over to Western Australia to have a crack at the $60,000 that's on offer. So not to be sneezed at by any seas of the imagination, but yeah, just the depth that we've got at the moment, not only locally but in South Australia as well. That's what's caught my eye this week, mate.
Absolutely. What's caught my eye, I was lucky enough to get along to the launch of Channel 7 Summer of Cricket yesterday, and great news for cricket lovers Australia-wide. There will be, throughout the course of this summer, access to all Test match cricket, all the Big Bash cricket on the new 7 digital platform. So even if you're at home and you don't have an antenna, you'll have access to what is going to be an absolutely spectacular summer of cricket with India coming to town. And we had Justin Langer as the guest speaker, and he was just magnificent. As you would imagine, he's been a wonderful cricketer for Australia, a great leader, an incredible coach. And he speaks with great passion. He's really excited about the summer of cricket upcoming, and he suggested Jasprit Bumrah would be the key man for India with the ball, so we'll keep an eye on that when some betting markets open up. And he also thought that the Aussie skipper Pat Cummins would have a big summer with the ball as well, so we might be able to roll those two together for most wickets options through the upcoming Australia v India Test match series. All right, Train, let's get down to business. We're going to get straight into this Friday night program. 4 heats of the Group 2 Mandurah Cup. They are absolutely dripping with quality. I found it hard to label anything complete moral through those 4 particular races, but there are still some nice races on the support card that we can get a few bucks out of. Let's get your key plays tonight there at Mandurah.
Yeah, I've had to steer clear of them heats, Shorty. They're just too far wide open, and you're going to get plenty of value about some dogs if you like any of them heats, Shorties. But I'm going to kick it off tonight. Get the cash early. Race 4, number 3, Chloe Ann. Gets a real good opportunity here, Shorty. She's to get back into the winners list. She has no pace on her inside whatsoever. She should just find the top. She does her best work when she bowls along out in front. Hasn't won for a little while, which is a little bit concerning, but I don't think she's going to get a better opportunity to break through tonight. Race 4, number 3, Chloe Ann, and she will be my best bet tonight, punters. Race 4, number 3, Chloe Ann.
All righty, on to the next of your plays.
Yeah, I'm going to go deep into the card. Shorty, race 10, number 4, Sunset Viper. I just like the bat for this guy. We know the dog in 5 likes to get wide, which will allow him to get some bit of room, and showed a really good turn of foot last start when it was a runner-up in 22.48. And interestingly, Shorty, he's won 2 from 6 from box 4, so that's always a good sign as well. Sunset Viper, the McLean kennels in good form as well. So 10-4 Sunset Viper.
All right, and the third of them?
And another bloke that not only can cook pies, Shorty, but his team's going really well on the track as well, Darren Rowe. Race 11, number 4, Cut Model. Racing really well. Got that good early speed. We tipped her last week. She speared the lids and just couldn't get to the lead by running a gallant second. The start before that, Shorty, she was a runner-up again in 22.55, and I think a time like that would see it be very hard to beat in this race. Race 11, number 4, Cut Model.
All righty, so there we have it. Race 4, number 3, race 10, number 4, race 11, number 4. Did you have anything out wide, either a roughie or a rover at this meeting, or did you save them for Saturday night?
Yeah, I've got a rover for Friday, Shorty. I got one of each night, so we'll go Friday night's rover. I just really love Hinto as a dog. Race 8, number 8, and in that race, he's short in the market, I noticed, but I think he can run into the placings, and we can get a roving banker out of him. Race 8, number 8, Hinto on tonight.
Beautifully done. And, I think it's certainly the sort of dog that is so reliable. It's had 14 starts from box number 8, being placed in 13 of them.
Yeah, unbelievable.
That's a pretty hot strike rate, isn't it?
Oh, it's outstanding. It's nearly as good as yours.
Oh, well, speaking of mine, we'll put that on pause for a moment and see if we can't grab Jesse Ehrenshaw's key plays for tonight's program. And Ryan Levitsky wasn't with us, but he has left us with a few of his better bets on the program to look forward to tonight there at Mandurah. Jesse was keen on race 2, number 4, Turk's Dream. Looks a nice race for this dog. It's not a strong lineup. Deeper into the program, he's keen What a Ripper the Place, race 9, number 1, What a Ripper the Place. And in race 10, he's with you with race 10, number 4, Sunset Viper. So a couple of tips there for Sunset Viper in race number 10 on the program. And that place option, race 9, number 1, What a Ripper, will that comes up in Kennel Mail a bit later, and there's a nice push for that dog there as well. So that's one at good odds with Jimmy's Jet in the race. Might be one for us to anchor up for some trifectas and first fours in that particular race. So Jesse 2-4-9 won the place, 10 for the win. Ryan Levitsky, race 3, number 6 Seahorn, one for Steve Withers. Again, not a strong lineup. Greyhound's got plenty of upside with a safe getaway. It should be there in the mix. Then race 6, number 2, Curo. This dog does map to get a lovely run with Crumble Manelli pinging to the top in 1, West on 80 in 3, wanting to get up the track. Curo should just get down to the rails and be able to smoke the pipe and get a lovely drag into the race. And he also was keen on the prospects of race 8, number 7, Sunset Nightjar. This has been a favourite of his for some time. Now, if Sunset Nightjar does race well, as Ryan suggests, you'd think Hinto's going to get that lovely card across with it. So that may also make it a little difficult for Transcendent in 6. Our Benson in 5's got pace. Sunset Nightjar in 7's got pace, and Transcendent's drawn in between them. So it'll be one of the key prospects as well. But it's another cracking heat there, race number 8. So Ryan Levitsky in recap, 3-6, 6-2 and 8-7. Yours truly for this evening. I am starting on the same start point as the train. Race 4, number 3, Chloe Ant. She's had 5 starts over this distance, 3 seconds and a third. Most of them have been in free-to-all company against our absolute top-grade city stayers. This race is not that race. There's none of the regulars that find themselves going around in those 715-metre free-for-all races when Cannington was open, and none of the dogs that are really in this lineup have been the sort of dogs that are regularly in those city free-for-alls at Northam over the 721. So looks a perfect race for Chloe Ant to sit right up on top of the speed, and this should be the confidence booster she's been looking for, race 4, number 3. On to race 9, number 2. I did throw him in my multis and copped a little bit of the $1.70 this morning, but he's since caved into, I think, around about $1.40 now last look. That's as short as you probably want to go with Jimmy's Jet, but he's just a winner, this fellow. He's when he draws 1, 2 or 7, 8, he doesn't have too much to worry about. He's got that wonderful early burn. He just puts himself into a contest and barges his way into a spot. So I'll stick with Jimmy's as a leg of the multi. And the third of the plays is race 10, number 2, Artisan Artist. This one for Damien Credelli. This dog's been bursting to win a race. It's run placings behind a few of our really good top-grade free-for-all 400-metre dogs. It's right back to a grade 5 now, drawn where it would like to be, near the inside. Just thought if it could get some clear room early, posse up in the top couple, this could be the race that Artisan Artist has been looking for to return to the winners list. So race 4, number 3, Chloe Ant. Race 9, number 2, Jimmy's Jet. And race 10, number 2, Artisan Artist. Having a look for a roughie and also a rover for tonight's program. I'm going to go the roughie in the first of these very strong Mandurah Cup heats, and at double figure odds, race 5, number 5, Bungee Man. Now, the draw is sticky, but there's a lot of pace in the race, and it's the sort of race where it could get messy. If that's the case, Bungee Man will just be flopping over to the rails and will be really strong in the back half of this contest. It really likes the Mandurah circuit. It's been running very well in some good quality fields of late at a big price. I thought it was a roughie you could have sort of a 1x9 play on in race 5, number 5, a Bungee Man. That looked at a really nice roughie for me on this particular program. And the other dog of note that I think maybe not tonight because it's such a hot race, but I love the run of Inside Scoop last week. That's race 7, number 5. Throw it in for 3rd and 4th tonight, but keep it in your black book, because when this dog, don't think it's far from dropping a grade. When it does, it'll be a really nice bet. So keep an eye out for Inside Scoop. It won't be far from the downgrade. Then you can have a really good crack at it. Quaddie-wise, a very challenging quaddie, it must be said.
Good luck.
It's okay. I'm actually pretty happy with where we've landed, though, here. It's not a cheap quaddie, but I wouldn't expect it to be paying light given the quality of the field. So we've gone leg 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Second leg, numbers 1, 2, 6 and 7. In the third leg, leg, just numbers 1, 4 and 7, and then home in the final leg with 2, 3, 4, 6 and 8. That's 360 for a full unit. What I would suggest is take maybe 5%, will cost you $18, or if you've got a bit more, $36 will get you 10%. It needs to pay 360 to chop out. I'm pretty sure there's scope for a double figure odds winner or two, which would then potentially see this pay well over $1,000, and we'll end up doing quite nicely out of the quaddie if that's how it does end up panning this evening. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 6, 7, 1, 4, 7, 2, 3, 4, 6 and 8. My thoughts for the quaddie tonight there at Mandurah. Let's move along now to this big bumper race program on Saturday night at Mandurah again. 13 of the best train, if you don't mind. You're away from home, so you don't have to worry about being drawn in race number 13. But I do believe Jay will be handling Aeroplane Ricky. Wouldn't she love it if Aeroplane Ricky won the last and got called in on a wet night for a swab at around about 10:45 there on Saturday night? Wouldn't that be interesting?
Well, that'll probably tip her over the edge, to be honest. She's not happy about it being race 13 as it is, but she's a good egg, and she's been doing a great job along with the rest of the team there at home, getting a couple of winners, Shorty. So Saturday night, Shorty, I'm going to kick it off race 5, number 1, Hurricane Taylor. I love just good old solid campaigners like this fella, and Rip and Tomahawk was another one. They just still got that zest for racing at that old age, Shorty. They've had really good careers, and they still are very competitive. And Hurricane Taylor's a perfect example. He's not getting any younger, but he'll give you 110% every week, this dog, Shorty. And I think he's a very hard dog to beat in this race. He's run 27-20 or 27-30 a couple of starts ago, Shorty, and the one box, although he's never won from it, he loves to get down to the fence, and that bend start, as we've talked about before, you got that advantage of being first to the rail. So I'm happy to play Hurricane Taylor, race 5, number 1, my first bet. Race 9, number 1 is my next tip, Shorty, Apache Havoc. Rod Noden team's airborne at the moment. This dog won from the 8 last start. Moves to the Cherry tonight where he's 2 from 2 undefeated. And like I said, Shorty, the kennel is absolutely airborne at the moment. Key to this race, Shorty, I thought the 2 was the only danger, as the wide-running Bundy in 3 is going to run cover for the inside 2 dogs. So, all right, they're both short in the market, but I'm keen Apache Havoc. And if you need to save, you can have the Granada there, 1 and 2, race 9, Shorty. And then the very best bet of the night, Shorty, race 10, number 2, Premium Star. Absolutely flying, this dog. Winner of his last 3 starts. Sizzled around in a 27-10 last week. Got the good early speed, Shorty. Rolls straight to the front. I've seen 180 on TABtouch. I think that's a gift, punters. Race 10, number 2, my very best on Saturday night.
We've lined up pretty similar here on Saturday night, which I like. I really do get that little bit of extra confidence when we both read races a similar way, and that's how it's turned out. So there'll be a bit of weight on a couple of those runners that you've just mentioned there. We'll get Jesse's thoughts, though, for a Saturday night there at Mandurah. His key plays on the program. The first of them is race 5, number 5, Fancy That Fred, The Place. Race 5, number 5, Fancy That Fred, The Place there for Jesse. Also, later on into the program, he was keen early, actually, on one. Race 1, number 4, in the maiden, Aussie Bluff, one for Cosy D'Agostino. You've probably seen this dog train. It's shown really good early burn and been run down, but I guess one of these nights, and probably the logic that Jesse's rolling with, is that if you're up front in a maiden, it's going to be a night where they sort of jam behind you, and you're going to be left and off and gone with the prize. So that's how Jesse saw things happening in that first race. Race 1, number 4, Aussie Bluff. Then we touched on race 5, number 5, Fancy That Fred. Graham with good early pace. The last little bit might be a bit of a challenge, but Jesse's suggesting that it'll be there running a hole in that particular event. And he rounded it out with race 8, number 1, Loki Hook. And there was a fair bit of confidence about his thoughts on Loki Hook later on in the program. Race 8, number 1, Loki Hook. So Jesse, in recap, 1-4, 5-5 the place, and 8-1 the win. Ryan Levitsky, 3 plays for Rhino for this weekend. He's going race 4, number 1, Gino Bravinsky on an each-way basis for the Marshmallow Man off the inside draw. Race 6, number 5, Sunset Comanche in the staying race. And he's rounding it out with race 11, number 1, On Board for Chris House deeper into the program. So Ryan Levitsky in recap, 4-1, 6-5 and 11-1. Yours truly on Saturday night, starting with race 6, number 5, Sunset Comanche. Just love this dog as a stayer. One of the more impressive young middle distance performers in the state right now. David Hobby knows how to progress these stays. He's done it so many times. Enormous respect for the dog drawn in box 8, All About Cole, who of course won the distance potential final for Darren Rowe only a month or so ago. Loves it in box number 8. It'll be there running tempo, and I think that Sunset Comanche will just nab it late. They look a great Quinella, 5 and 8, but I'll lean towards 5 Sunset Comanche. Race 9, number 1 Apache Havoc. Everything the train said's bang on. Rocket Rod Noden's got the team firing. Bundigi gets up the track. Imperial Sash runs slightly inferior early sectionals to Apache Havoc, so Apache Havoc should, with the rails draw, hold it out. Imperial Sash will keep on coming. It'll get room on the outside. They'll be running first and second here. It looks another great Quinella on the program, but I'll lean towards 1 Apache Havoc from 1 and 2. And the same dog in race 10, number 2, Premium Star. I think just under even money's a great price about a dog that is really just working it all out. It showed above average ability as a youngster. With every race that it's having, it's just getting better and better. In great hands with Chris House, and looks very hard to beat in race 10, number 2, Premium Star. So they're my key plays, 6-5, 9-1 and 10-2. I will also share a couple of rovers on the program. So I thought that in race number 3 on the card, this is a dog that I'll be using in a rove capacity fairly consistently given its racing pattern, and that is race 3, number 2, Zipping Lewick. This dog gets out of its ground and then charges home late. Often over this trip, there's a few dogs that get a bit weary late. It always charges past a few. It's just going to be a great rover for many months to come until it steps up to the longer trip. Race 3, number 2, Zipping Lewick looks a really nice roving banker play for me there. And just a couple of those Quinellas, novelty-wise, I thought it just looked great plays. 1 and 2, Apache Havoc and Imperial Sash in race 9. And in race number 6, 5 and 8, Sunset Comanche and All About Cole. They're my novelty plays for this weekend. Train, what have you got, a roughie or a rover for us here on Saturday night?
Yeah, I got a roughie shorty. It was the same as last week. Scramble Button, dog trained by Eric Campana, who's also, his team's ticking along very nicely as well. This dog's going to pinch a race soon. One of these days at big odds. Had box 8 last week, goes to the 5. Race 4, number 5, Scramble Button, my roughie. My rover shorty's race 8, number 2, Hopeland, trained by Cody Charles. A sub-17 winner, 2 starts to go. I think it'll be thereabouts, race 8, number 2 on Saturday night. And my quaddie shorty, while we're there, on Saturday night, first leg, 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 8. Second leg, 2, 4, 5, 8. Third leg, I'm going to be brave and take number 1, 1 out. Apache, and that's not Apache Havoc. What is that dog, Shorty?
That would be Ned.
Ned, yes, same stable, yes. And the last leg, 1, 2, 5 and 8. 96 combinations there, Shorty.
Excellent. $96, $9.60 will get you 10% if you're looking to get involved there on a Friday night with the Trains Quadrella. That is about it for that Mandurah Saturday night program. What I might do is go through that kennel mail while I've got you on the line, and we'll also line up your scraps and also very best while we've got you on the line there. While I'm getting this all up, what's in stores, Trained, while you're across there in South Australia? Have you got plans to do much while you're across there other than just be with the dogs?
Oh, I've got a couple of I've got one horse racing tomorrow at Belmont, so I think we're going to go to Morphettville tomorrow and have a look there. I popped in there a couple of weeks ago when I was over, and there's a nice little area called the Diva Bar, Shorty, just a little bar, and it goes out to the front on the artificial grass, and the mounting yard's right in front of you, so that was a really good spot. Might go there tomorrow. Gawler Dogs today. Got the Spoon Bowl tonight, Shorty. My NRL team, the Eels, are up against the Tigers, so I'll be watching that. Nicole's partner is a big Hawthorn fan, so he'll be sitting down watching that and the doggies tonight. So a lot to do, Shorty. I'm not just here to be hard-working. I'm going to put the feet up at some stage, and yeah, so I think it's going to be a pretty big weekend. Just stay away from Hindley Street is the plan, Shorty. Stay away.
I've got you $1.04 to cave in and find yourself there. It's very close, Train. It's a long way to go to not find yourself at least visiting on one occasion.
Oh, maybe after, if we get into the derby, maybe after that night, Shorty, that might be me swan song at Hindley Street and just do a proper job on myself.
Yeah, well, that wouldn't be a new thing. We'll look forward to that and look forward to some updates. As long as you get home in one piece, we need you for the Jet Set podcast heading forward. All right, we're going to have a look at Graham Credelli's been good enough to help us out with some kennel mail there for tonight, Mandurah Friday. This is music to our ears, Train. Chloe Ant. I tipped this girl last week and she ran a good second to All About Cole, who's flying at the moment. I'm expecting her to lead this race and from there she should be winning. It's time to break her duck at Mandurah. So that's race 4, number 3, Chloe Ant, and that falls into line with Train and myself with one of our better bets on the card tonight, 4-3, Chloe Ant. Race 9, number 1, What a Ripper. This was one of Jesse's for a place. It's in Jimmy's Jets race. What a Ripper. It's going to be very hard to beat the 2-dog, Jimmy's Jet, but you just can't leave this bloke out from this draw. Has had a walk-on during the week, so hopefully he can step a bit better than he has done lately, an each-way play. So that's race 9, number 1, What a Ripper there on Monday, tonight's program there at Mandurah. And then we've got Saturday night. I'll be sipping on a mango daiquiri in the nice warm weather of Bali. Enzo's got the reins. Well, they do find a gear when Enzo takes charge. So this is a positive push for Saturday night there. And good luck to you, Grazer. You go and have a great time but over there in Bali. Have a few pina coladas for us.
He just got back, Shorty. He only just got back. It's unbelievable, these greyhound trainers, how many holidays they have.
Well, it's pretty rich coming from a bloke that's just telling us about hitting the town in Hindley Street over there in South Australia as we speak. Mate, great man, but...
I'm on the tools, mate. I'm working. I've got dogs here.
Okay. I'll give you a leave pass. So let's go work through. And I'll tell you what, when we've got Enzo in charge, look out, all business. Saturday night, Mandurah. Race 5. Race 8, number 5, Cherry Blue. I tipped her last week and was never in it, but she's better than that. Squeeze box won't worry her as she'll be going quick early and hopefully gets a good enough break. So Cherry Blue's the sort of dog that is worth following consistently if you can just be patient, because it's a dog that on its night shows well above average early speed, and it doesn't run free-for-all style times, but it's not a long way off it. And while it's in these grades, just comes down to whether or not it can cross. And, 1 in 4 or 5, it's going to be able to. So you're normally getting a good each-way price, and that'll be the case again there on Saturday night. Race 8, number 5, one for the Cherry fans, Cherry Blue. And race 4, number 4, Ballistic Bliss. Still learning, but won his maiden in good style last week and should only get better. Up in class from that run, but he's a reliable beginner, and if he can find the front again, he may get away with another win. So that's another one for us to watch out for there. Race 4, number 4 in Ballistic Bliss. And sounds like it's got a little bit of a future heading forward as well, still with a little bit to learn there. So they are the thoughts from Team Credelli for this week. And we've also got Lukey Townsend, who found us Wise Barra last week. Train, $4.20 if you don't mind punters. He was pretty quick to let me know that he's just spoiling the punters once again, which is tremendous to see. G'day, mate. Tonight, I'm going to go race 5, number 2, Wise Barra again. It's going really well at the moment, and it's hard not to tip her. So that's the first of them tonight, Mandurah Friday. The dog that was good to us last week at the $4.20 will go again. That is race 5, number 2, Wise Barra. Really been beginning well. It does use a fair bit of the track, but it's been beginning well enough to get to where it wants to be and be comfortable. And then Saturday night, more music for the ears here. Great man.
Premium Star.
Race 10, number 2, Premium Star. He's going really well at the moment, and if he begins like last start, he should be in the money. So we'll roll with it again. No need to jump off it. Race 10, number 2, Premium Star. And he's also thrown one in here. Race 11, number 1, On Board. He's drawn really well in a suitable race for him. He just needs to begin better than his last couple of starts, and he should be right in the mix. So a nice push for a couple late on Saturday night there from the House Kennel from our man Lukey Townsend. He's had the hot hand of late, and we'll be hoping that can continue on Friday and Saturday night there. So that's race 5, number 2, Wise Barra tonight. Then on Saturday night, race 10, number 2, Premium Star. Race 11, number 1, On Board. Now, Traino, It's time for us to just about bid each other farewell. I know you've got football to watch, and are you going out for dinner somewhere? Out for dinner somewhere tonight? Perhaps have you been tipped into a nice restaurant or two around the region you're staying at?
Well, I think we're going to go to Gawler Dogs. That's a bit of an afternoon meeting, Shorty. So going to have a meal then, and then by the time we get back, I'll be on about me 10 flights in, so I won't need to eat it anymore after that. But tomorrow we're going to go to obviously Morphettville, have a good day there, but no restaurants at this stage, Shorty. We'll keep that till later. Now listen, before you go any further, I have got a leftover, race 8, number 8 at Geelong tonight, punters. Matlock, it's been very well backed, 340 into 240, I think, but the 240 to me still looks good value. So race 8, number 8, Matlock, and my kennel mail, Shorty. Now listen, I'm going to tip this dog. You look at his form and you think, this bloke's on the crack pipe. But race 13, number 8, Aeroplane Ricky, his form says no. But if you want to go back and watch his run from last start, you'll want to be on him tomorrow night. Box 8 is perfect for him out where he wants to be. The dog has trialled 17.03 there, so he can run this dog, but he does seem to find trouble. But there's no excuses for him Saturday night, Shorty. If he doesn't run well Saturday night, he'll be looking for a new home. So race 13, number 8, Aeroplane Ricky, my kennel mail. Now,
yes.
Now you can get back to where you were going to go.
Yeah, Aeroplane Ricky on the Jet Set podcast. There's a bit of synergy here, great man. It would be quite nice for Aeroplane Ricky to sprout the wings and deliver for us there. Couple of fairy floss runners for the train tonight there. One for the private investigator fans, Matlock, race 8, number 8, and then race 13, number 8, Aeroplane Ricky. And we'll be cheering hard for Jay to get the job done with Ricky and get home in one piece after the 13th there on Saturday night. Now, while we're in this space, I'll go through my leftovers as well. Had good success last week with our thoroughbred multi. Our middle leg was scratched, but we were left with two winners. $8.75, the double. Very nice punters. So we're going again this week. And TABtouch once again are running a special. If you put the fixed odds multi on your TABtouch account, miss one leg, money back up to $50. The Shorty special, the Shorty racing special. So this week we're going with Moonee Valley, race 5, number 3, Arkansas Kid. Loves Moonee Valley. This horse absolutely jogged in last time out, and it was poleaxed in betting. Moonee Valley again from a top camp. Very, very happy to be with it. Race 5, number 3, Arkansas Kid. And then later in the day, this is where the value jumps in. Race 9, number 6, Estriella. Currently $4. Now, look, this is an absolutely steaming hot lineup that Estriella finds itself in here, but I've always got my ear to the ground at the start of spring from the top camps, and I speak of Chris Waller, Annabelle Neesham, Kieran Maher, the Snowdens. Any chance you get when they get a chance to speak about who are likely prospects to be playing a part in the spring, my ears prick up. And last preparation, this horse went straight into my black book, and it's bobbed up here, and I've heard an interview with Kieran Maher a week and a bit ago, and he suggested that this particular girl is in for a very big preparation. Her name is Estriella. Last preparation, she won 3 of her 4 starts. Her last start was in the Sangster at the end of the preparation. The prior performances were elite in the Kevin Hayes, also the English Sprint, the Sunlight Classic. She just worked through the gears like a very, very smart mare, and she's matured from last preparation. He's got big plans for her. She runs into Lady of Camelot, who's been poleaxed in betting, and also I Wish I Win, who's going to be one of the star gallopers of the spring upcoming. However, Estriella has had 2 starts first up. She's won both of them, and all reports are she is ready to roll first up. So happy to be with her at the $4. That's the second leg, Moonee Valley, race 9, number 6. And then we head to Randwick, race 8, horse number 10, Zardozi. Another very, very talented girl. Zardozi returned last time out, had no luck at all. Has J-Mac on board from barrier 5 here. Ran 6 behind Via Sistina, beaten a tick over 2 lengths on the return. Second up, 3 starts, 2 wins. Will benefit greatly from that return run. We're cheering hard for the Blue Army in race 8, number 10 there at Randwick. So in recap, Moonee Valley race 5, number 3, Arkansas Kid. Moonee Valley race 9, number 6, Estriella. Randwick, race 8, number 10, Zardozi. $18.48, the treble, $18.48. I'll be taking the doubles, the treble, and then the all-up place as my play, but you can do it however you would like to. That's our thoroughbred multi, and if you place it on the fixed odds with TABtouch, miss one leg, money back up to $50. Good luck if you're playing in that space. Okay, Train, it leaves us with just the very best of the weekend. Now, the leaderboard right now. JC's on top with 650. You're in a silver medal position with 480. Corey's on 380. And I've actually this week gone and seen a hoodoo cleanser. And they've actually put me into the holy water, and they've got rid of this hex that's been on my very best in recent times, and I am ready to absolutely carve it up from here on in, which is excellent. So let's get your very best, your $100 for this week. What are we doing?
Yeah, well, we need to get things back on track, Shorty. I think the 4 duck eggs again last week
was a blackout. All on mum for JC was his first miss so far.
Yep.
Sunset Peppy for your good self, no good. Lakeview Emily for Corey was no good, and Rapido Jedi, unfortunately, the dark side got to Rapido Jedi, and we didn't get to see the best of the force there. So, who are you rolling with to straighten things up this week?
Well, I'm going to go to Saturday night. I'm going to have a 2-leg multi. I tried this a few weeks ago and it didn't end well, but I'm hoping we can get a bit more luck. Race 5, number 1, Hurricane Taylor a place. Into race 10, number 2, Premium Star a win. Shorty is my multi for this week, and I think we might get around about $2.80 to $3 for that multi, and that'll shoot me to the top of the leaderboard. And good luck from catching me from there, boys. Yeah,
okay. I like your confidence. I've split my bet in 2 this week. And I'm doing it a little bit different. I really like that staying race on Saturday night at Mandurah with 5 and 8, Sunset Comanche, and also All About Cole. So I'm having a trifecta: 5 and 8 to win, 5 and 8 to run second, 2 and 4 to run third. They are Coco Shimmer and Stevie Manelli for 15 units, so 1,500%. That's $60. So 5-8, 5-8, 2-4 for 15 units. And I'm actually going to the Meadows for the other $40 as a multi-train. Our man Corey Smith, you saw this run last time out. His dog, race 4, number 7, Kenya All Class. It was stunning over the 600 metres. I thought it was a massive performance. I'll take it into race 6, number 1, Flying Zulu. Loves the inside draw. Very talented canine from the J. Thompson camp. So $60 is 15 units worth of that try. 5-8, 5-8, 2-4. And the other $40, the all-up win, the Meadows Saturday night. 4-7, Kenya All Class. 6-1, Flying Zulu.
Beautifully done, Shorty. Beautifully done. Now it's raining here again at Adelaide, and I'm off to Gawler soon. And the lady I'm staying with, she asked me to catch one of her dogs, and I'm going to have to decline her, Shorty, because I don't want to go out there and get my hair wet. So I'm going to have to tell her it's a no-no to find someone else. But all jokes aside, I just want to give her a shout-out, Shorty. She's been outstanding for me and the dogs, and they've settled in really well, Nicole Price. So big thanks to her for letting me stay here.
Anything there for the battlers this afternoon at Gawler? Is she confident about one of the runners heading there to Gawler this afternoon?
We've got 4 runners. 3 of them are favourites, Shorty. The best one's gone right off. Hot Lips, I think it's in race 8. I think it's 185 into 150, so they have a miss there. But, yeah, it might be something for you to add into a multi, Shorty.
Well, Train, knowing what you're going to be getting up to over the next few days, this has got to be the omen tip of the weekend. Hot Lips. Goodness gracious. We'll get heavily involved with it. Gawler, race 8, Hot Lips, if you don't mind, punters. Beautifully done, Shayno. Mate, you had the best time across there in South Australia. In all seriousness, too, when we went through the kennel mail, we didn't go into detail, but we talked about the trials of your 2 dogs. Let's hope for friendly box draws. Ideally, if I could draw the marbles out for you, where do you want to draw with your 2 dogs as we go to the Derby heats next week?
Well, I think Conic Jet's used up his luck. He's had 2 and 1 his last 2 starts, so he's probably going to get somewhere out wide, but he obviously needs 1, and the other dog's he's all right from 1 to 4, Shorty, so he won't be greedy. 1-1 and 1-3, I'll be happy with that. But, all jokes aside, it's going to be, that's going to be very crucial come Monday morning when them draws are done, because the calibre of dogs here, you're not going to be afford to. Sometimes you get in them heats, you can find a weak one, Shorty, and you can do a few things wrong and get lucky, but I don't think you're going to be able to be afforded that luxury this week. With the quality of dogs are here, you're going to have to get it right in the heat and the final.
Absolutely. Good luck to you, Train. We'll all be cheering hard for you. Go the Sandgropers and have a great time in SA.
Thank you, mate. Say hello to the boys for me, and good luck punters on the punt this weekend.
It's a busy weekend of chasing in New South Wales. Joining the boys to help find you the winners, it's the one and only Jaycin Campbell.
Time now to head across to New South Wales. Our man, Jaycin Campbell, he's been seeing them beautifully for us, and it's time to have a look at this Wentworth Park program for Saturday night. Hello, JC.
Hey, Shorty, how are you, mate?
Going very well, thank you. How's the week going across there in New South Wales?
Yeah, very nice. Can't complain. Just finished off a bit of chicken teriyaki, so that was an absolute fill-up. So I'm about to enter a food coma, Shorty, so you've got me at a good time.
Magnificent. Hey, speaking of which, last weekend you were talking about potentially going for a meal somewhere and a bit of rugby. How was that for you?
Yeah, no, I went to rugby, what was it, Sharks versus Warriors. Warriors scored a try in the dying stages of the game. Sean Johnson was retiring, so that was his final play. So he's been a champion footballer for the last decade or so. So that was a good way to end his career. And after that, I got a bit peckish. So he went out with a few of the boys to a kebab shop in Banksia. So we had a nice kebab, and then we had a nice, what was it? It was like a black mint tea or something from a place called Yemendi. It's a Yemen restaurant in Beverly Hills. So
awesome.
Yeah, it was a bit of a late night, but we're all in one piece, Shorty, and looking forward to another big weekend.
Magnificent. We've got an interesting card on Saturday night here at Wentworth Park. 10 races up for debate. There's some really good dogs strutting their stuff, but I'm staggered at how many meetings are holding up with really good quality fields, given we've got the $1 Million Chase heats on. We've just had the Nationals. We've got the Oaks and Derby going on across there at SA. We've got our Group 2 Mandurah Cup heats tonight. There's 4 great heats there. Everywhere you look at the moment, it's just high-quality chasing.
Yeah, I'm getting head spins with all these greyhounds. They're everywhere. I don't even know where I'm looking at. Wentworth Park 1 minute, then Hobart, then Launceston, Albion Park, Mandurah. Angle Park's about to kick off, so I'm really confused, Shorty. It's a pretty good program, as you mentioned. There's a lot of young dogs coming through the ranks that probably just aren't ready yet for those MDC regional qualifiers, but they'll definitely be there this time next year. So looking forward to go through the 10-race program with you.
Indeed, and we had the Dapto Megastar as well on last night, on top of all of that.
Yeah, 5 heats. So I got to see a few of them before I fell asleep on the couch. So I think who run the 5? I think Good Odds Cobber run about 29.60 odd or something, 70 odd. So he'll be probably favourite, I'm assuming, in that race next week.
Took him a while to actually pick up that leader in that race. Good Odds Cobber from the inside draw. The leader sort of snuck away a little bit mid-race, but he's a good professional race dog, isn't he, Cobber?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, that leader goes really good. I think she won like 2 races going into that over the 297 in absolutely flying time. So he's a good trainer too. So maybe won the Black Book, Tom Rees. He's got a little small team, probably like an hour south of the New South Wales or around there somewhere. And he'd be striking at, I reckon, around 35%. So he's got histories coming in hurricane rain both through to the final next week. So big effort from him.
Yeah, some good dogs in that final. Gets late early for Mini Finn. We saw Still Available, who we've been a fan of in recent weeks as well. Finished runner-up in that particular heat. Power and Glory's been going super. It was a good winner, defeating Harmony Fire in another of those heats. Good Odds Cobber beating Hurricane Rain. And History's Coming was a nice win. This dog's putting together a really good record. Defeated Might Have Been and also Warhawk. And the first of the heats was Overflow Jill for Craig Chapello, a fellow that's been across here to the west in the past with a dog called Frosty Fruits many years ago. It's a really nice dog for him. Defeated Poco Rico. What a litter that has been. Oh, my God. That line has just thrown winner after winner and continues to do so. All right, though, it's time to find some winners for our listeners for this weekend. JC, take us through your best bets to start off with on Saturday night at Wenny Park.
Yeah, I'm a bit thin on bets this week, Shorty. I've only got 4, so I've only got 1 bet, and then we'll get into the value, rover, and very best. So going to the last race for, I guess, my one and only bet, race 10, number 8, Supreme Osty. Battler's race here, been a few scratchings in those middle draws. If you look at his numerical form, it's not great, and it would suggest he is a battler. However, you only have to go back 3 starts where he actually runs 29.94 over this track and trip. So I think this dog's going quite well. That time's only a length and a half off his personal best. If you go through the rest of this field, without being rude to the runners, they aren't particularly going that well. They've got really high SP profiles, getting beaten a long way in slow time. So I think Supreme Osty, he's found his right race now. His last 2 runs, I'm happy to put a pen through them. He's been against Recycled and From the East. I think you've backed both those runners in both those races, and they've both run really good times, and they're both some of the more promising 5th graders coming through the ranks. So I'm happy to be with Supreme Osty in the last race of the night.
Fairy Floss Rug, race 10, number 8. What about your value play for the night?
Value play, race 1, number 5, Trunky Mink. Hopefully we get a bit of value about this bitch. She stepped quite well, I reckon, in her past 2 races from boxes 8 and 6. She just hasn't had a great deal of luck crossing from those wide alleys. She gets in a slight portion here to box 5. There's just not a lot of speed in this race, which is most important. I think she can cross the inside runners, find the front, set up a big break, and hopefully win at odds for us in race 1.
Very consistent chaser, Trunky Mink from box number 5 in race number 1. Your rover for this weekend?
Yeah, I'm lost without Crowded House once again. I think it went around last night, but it was about $1 million to 1 in a really difficult race. So we let that one go through to the keeper, thankfully, Shorty. But I'm going to be with race 6, number 3, Sammy Ethan. Drops from back-to-back top-grade races. Happy to be very forgiving of both those starts. You just have to look at this greyhound's record. Very consistent. Not a leader chaser or whatnot, which we normally try and look for, but it's had 30 starts over this track and trip for 9 wins and 14 placings. So he's really, really always in the money pretty much over this track and trip. I think, obviously, it's only top 2. That's probably better for us, I reckon, Shorty, because he probably will open up favourite in this race. So we might be able to get about $1.80 or $1.80 to $2 for him to run first or second. So I think that's a great bet.
Absolutely. There's a couple of other dogs in this race too that are perennial silver bronze merchants. Slick Rambo in box number 2 runs a pile of placings, and I'm loving it. That same man, Craig Chapello, has been running placings for fun as well. They're dogs that are living in my black book and being anchored up for 2nd and 3rd in many a novelty. So it's a really nice race to play into some novelties there. But race 6, number 3, Sammy Ethan, will be our rover for a JC on Saturday night. What about a quaddie? Have you come up with some numbers?
Yes, leg 1, 4, 6 and 7. Leg 2, 3 and 4. Leg 3, 3, 4, 6. And leg 4, 2, 3 and 4. Looking forward to leg 4. It's the feature race on the night, I guess. It's a 5th grade final. We've got a few really, really fast dogs such as Swift Challenge, DePeach for Peter Ladge and King Tide for Jody Lord.
Gee, I like King Tide as a dog. I've been really impressed, and obviously had a little bit of enjoyment racing a couple of dogs with the team at Punters HQ with Joe and the guys, and this producer, Book of Luck, she just keeps on throwing really, really nice dogs. And obviously, Doonan was the dog that won a pile of races for us at Wentworth Park, and is still, as an older dog, racing really well across there at Angle Park, doing good things. But this next litter, there are a couple of them in this race. King Tide is the pick in this particular race, and wouldn't be at all surprised to see it run a really good race. And the other one who's only had the 2 career starts, I think both career efforts have been good, and that's Aiden's Warrior. I note that it was heavily commissioned on debut when winning in 30 and 12. I think there's plenty of upside still to come with this particular dog heading forward, but that's going to be a great race there. Race number 8 on the program. I'll quickly take you through what I had. I was really light on as well, JC, for this Saturday night. I'm going to be roving race 2, number 3, Archer Fly High. And speaking of litter coincidences, this is, of course, couple of litters on from the great Tommy Shelby, Serena Fly High, who Steve Withers across here trained to great success over the staying trips, and she's been a wonderful producer. And Archer Fly High, a model of consistency, 20 starts, 4 wins and a further 7 placings. Last handful, 3, 4, 4, 3. It's been running over the trip. I love those sorts of dogs because generally, even if they don't step well, you know they pelt home late, and at the very least they can normally sneak into 3rd or 4th and get a nice result for the novelty players. So we'll stick with race 2, number 3, Archer Fly High. And also in race number 9 on the card, another Rove dog, number 7, Ritza Trish. Race 9, number 7, Aritza Trish is the other of my Rove options on the night. Another greyhound there that's just very, very consistent and reliable when it comes to hitting the frame. 26 starts, 7 wins, 12 placings. So 19 of 26. Track and trip, 9 for 1 win and 6 placings. So it's 7 of 9. It's gone home with a medal around its neck on a race night. We'll stick with Richard Trish as a really nice banker heading forward. And I am going to have something on King Tide. It should be a reasonable price in a field of that quality. As you touched on, Swift Challenge, Depeche, Big Town Tilly, all really smart greyhounds. West Rock Casey's been going great guns for Mary Hughes. But I've just liked what I've seen from King Tide. I like it when young dogs get into the habit of winning and pelting the line, and that's what King Tide's been doing. So I'll have something on it on an each-way basis if odds permit, and Rove race 2, number 3, and race 9, number 7. Now, you are our current leader, JC, on the very best table. Last week was the first time you missed since we've kicked off, which is pretty good going, and it must be said.
And, thankfully you knocked me off, Shorty, so at least someone won.
There was only one dog that you didn't want in the rearview mirror, and that dog landed in the rearview mirror.
The first turn when you lobbed right behind me, Shorty, because I was cast. I knew I was gone, but I can't complain with the bet. I don't know. The bookmakers really, really found her. I didn't expect her to open up that short, so I guess recycle in the end was probably the way to go, and you were definitely on the money there, so it was a good win.
It was, but look, take nothing away from the dog that you found. More often than not, dogs that are drawn awkwardly, like that particular greyhound was in the first there last week, more often than not, they get a clip or a bump, lose momentum, and the dog that's punching up hard on the rail and finds the arm is often home and gone running, 29-6, 29-7. So you're a pretty stiff JC, and your form held up good. There was no knock on that pick whatsoever. This week, looking to get back into the winners list, and the train's already declared himself, saying that he's going to give you the bypass this week. So let's make sure you give him something to chase, mate. What are we going with for the very best this week?
Yes, race 3, number 1, Ritza Smoke. Always a fan of dogs that slowly seep their way, dropping back in company, and here's one of them. He's recently had a few runs in 5th grade company, but unfortunately for him, he has drawn middle 2 wide boxes. He doesn't like that whatsoever because he's not the greatest beginner. He gets back into box 1 here. He's on the fresh side. He's 3 weeks between runs. So that's really good for him out of the boxes. And you only have to go back to April this year where he has run his personal best out of box run, running 29.51. I think that's going to be really hard to run down in a race of this nature. And most importantly, the 2 dogs drawn outside him, Darkest Gun and Secret Misses, if you watch their head-on replays, they both like to step on the right side and use the track a little bit going to the first turn. So I think there's no reason why Ritza Smoke can't get a clear run early, and if he can do that, he's certainly capable of breaking 30 seconds and putting a hole in these runners late.
Love it. Race 3, number 1, box 1, Bandit, Ritza Smoke, $100 on the snout for our man Jaycin Campbell this weekend. Jace, punters out there that would like to follow some of your handiwork with the Wolfton crew, what do they need to do?
YouTube, Dogs in the Den. We had our 3rd episode back on Wednesday going through the Dapto Megastar heats, and we'll definitely go over them once again on Wednesday and go over the final, and probably look ahead to the SA Derby and hopefully give your good self and Shane Train Williams a nice shout out. Hopefully he's in with a good chance with Iconic Jet and ripping noses from memory. Spot on. Yeah, they both trialled really well, 30 and 24 and 30 and 41 last night between races there at Angle Park. So if they both want to be drawing inside, preferably, if they can both get inside marbles, they'll both be well and truly worth having a look at there next Thursday night at Angle Park. Great catching up there, JC. Appreciate your time as always. Have a ripper weekend. We'll catch you next Friday here on the Jet Set. You too. Thanks, Shorty.
Another massive evening of metropolitan chasing lies ahead at the Meadows on Saturday night. To dissect the card, here's the man with the Melbourne Mail, Corey Smith.
Time to head across to Victoria now. Our man Corey Smith about to join us to have a look at the Meadows on Saturday night. Very busy 12-race program, a little bit of extra excitement heading in as well, I would suggest, after that stunning win from Kenya All Class last week. It backs up again over the 600 metres this Saturday night. Welcome to you, Corey, and congratulations. What an outstanding performance. That was like the dog had a little remote control and magnificent viewing. I was on my way to an event that I was going to socially on Saturday night, and I had my wife with me in the Uber, and I said, guy that work on the podcast with got a dog in this race, number 7. Just watch this. And I wouldn't say she's a racing addict, but by the end of the race, she was pretty fizzed up about it all. So if it can make someone like my wife Gemma excited, I'm sure you would have been screaming the place down.
I was a little bit nervous, to be honest. I was sitting in a brewery in Nagambie, and there was about 20 other blokes there. I was at a 30th, and they'd all backed him, and I had 0 cents on, and they were all riding him pretty hard. And when he came out last, they all threw the toys out of the cot. And one of my mates goes, no, this is what he does, just wait. And so they all honed in again, and they were watching, and they were absolutely erupting. And I'm sitting there going, gee whiz, I'm not sure this is good for the heart. I can't have him flopping out every start and then looping around them. So hopefully he does it a little bit easier this weekend. But those sorts of run-on types are what puts bums in seats, and they're good for greyhound racing. But I tell you what, when you own one, that makes it bloody difficult. And I've come to a realisation, just to change tact here, Shorty. I've come to a realisation during the week. You rang me about 2 months ago and you said, we're doing this podcast, we're starting it up. It's called the Jet Set Podcast. And in my head, I just thought that's because you're travelling around collecting tips, nice and clever. But I think it's actually means, where the hell is Shane Williams each and every week? Because that man, is he ever in Perth?
Very rare that he has time here on the home base. And the irony of it all is, Corey, is when he's away, his dogs seem to go better.
Must have a good team around him.
He has got a great team around him. And just quickly, we chatted to him earlier today, but we've got those SA Oaks and Derby heats on Thursday night. There are a pile of Victorian trainers heading across with some of their young dogs, and one dog in particular he's got, their iconic Jet, is well above average. It's running, I trialled 30 and 24. It's capable of going quicker. It's the sort of dog that if it gets the right sort of box draw without being too jammy around it, it can really put a bit of time on the board. So we'll be cheering hard for iconic Jet and Rippin' Moses there next Thursday night, and looking forward to seeing plenty of the Big V representation as well on that big program at Angle Park next Thursday night. Let's hone in on the Meadows, though. It's a really good 12-race card, as we touched on, aside of the 600-metre race, which will be a real highlight for your good self. The Pat Haas Classic Final, wonderful tribute to a fine individual within our sport from years gone by. And the Haas name in greyhound racing has been a big part of Victorian chasing for many, many years.
Yeah, it certainly has. She was an absolute trailblazer of the sport, Pat Haas. So it's the least we can do here at the Meadows. Most of our races are named after of greyhounds of years gone by, whether it be Temley, Zoom Top, Rookie Rebel and the like. But Pat Haas certainly deserves her name up in lights, and she gets that this weekend. It might not be one of the big group races or anything like that, but it certainly honours her, and that's all that we can do, is honour the trailblazers of years gone by, people that have made a difference and people that without them we wouldn't be around and enjoying the sport that we love. So it's always good to honour someone from years gone by.
Definitely. It's a damn good race too. 10,000 to the winner, that final over the 525. I'm a Mustang. Gee, I've been taken with the form of Sunnyside Joe of late. That dog's been flying. Also on the program, Flying Zulu takes on King Owen, who's been going really well. Shimmer Current, Vincent Bale, Mapunga Tully. That's a tremendous race number 6 on the card. And for the stayers as well, later on in the program, the Victorian National Sprint representative, Aunt Virginia, goes around. Black Silencer, Mapunga Surprise, a dog you isolated for us a few weeks ago. It's been going great guns. So good to see. I love looking at a race card, particularly city standard, where you get that really good variation of 500, 600 and 700 metre chasing. As a punter, it just gives you some really good variety.
Yeah, and it's not even just the variety of the distance. There's a 500-metre race that has Palawar King, Zohar Bale and Voss Ali, who are all 700-metre dogs going up against the likes of Shayna Bale, who's been in some pretty good form. So, there's just so many talking points throughout the race. Sometimes when you get the fields come out, you're looking through it and you're going, what am I going to talk about this week? Where are the stories going to be? What are we going to do? This week it was almost information overload. You didn't know where to look. You didn't know which race to hone in on. But that just goes to show the quality of greyhound racing at the moment and the depth of greyhound racing as a whole, that there can be so many talking points coming out of one series when there's so many other series going on around Australia that are chock full of quality as well.
It shows you that there's room for multiple big races on at the same time, and that's the industry can cope with that. Just on that, I must admit, when I first looked at that field, I automatically assumed that it must be a 600 or 700 metre race when I saw particularly Palawar King there, but then a couple of the other runners. Is it just coincidence that they've all landed and opted to step back in trip to a sprint race?
Well, I think two in particular, Palawar King and Zohar Bale, are both on the comeback trail. Zohar Bale's third up off a 6 or 7 month spell, and Palawar King, we saw what he did in the Fireball Heat, one of the biggest runs of the year, going to be very hard to beat for run of the year in the upcoming season, but he's on the comeback trail as well. So they can both run times over the 500 metres, whether it's going to suit, whether they're just going to need the run, whether it's essentially a trial, I don't really know, but it does provide us with something to watch and something to be excited about as well. So I'm with you. A lot of the time when I look at a race, I don't even look at the distance. I just see the dogs and know what the distance is going to be. But this was one that confused me.
Yeah, absolutely. It's going to be a highlight, though. That's the beautiful part of it. And, we've seen Palawar King reel off some ridiculous fractions to win sprint races in the past. So it's going to be just absolutely top draw. That's just the entree when you look at what happens deeper into the card as well. Okay, let's see if we can't drill down and find a couple of winners for the listeners. A couple of your BBs for Saturday night, Corey?
We're going to go into race number 8, which is the Top Cap Video Cup. The feature on the card worth $15,000 of the winner, and I'm going to go with number 7, Mapunga Surprise. I feel like I tip this girl every week, and I probably do on this podcast, but she's got plenty of talent. And despite this one being a bit of a tougher race than what she's faced recently, I think she's still good enough to win. I expect Drill Sergeant, who's got the 2, and Cracking Chief, who's got the 8, to be the 2 who probably nail the start, and I'm hoping we can follow on the back of them. The other greyhound that obviously is of some concern to me is Aunt Virginia. She's probably the most talented in the race, but she has been just missing at a fraction. So I'm hoping we can land in front of Aunt Virginia. And if we do, we're going to be hard to run down. So just hoping we can kind of melt into the race a little bit behind the leaders and take over down the back and be too strong late. So race 8, number 7, Mapunga Surprise, the first of my best bets.
All righty. The second of them?
The second of them, we go to race 10 with number 5, Irinka Benji. I think this dog will get even better once he steps back up over the 600 metres, but he's got an enormous engine. And after having a bit of a spin around the Meadows last week where he ran 4th, I'm expecting a fair bit of improvement from him. It's not a nice draw. It's probably a grim draw on paper, to be honest, box number 5 at the best of times, but he usually jumps midfield or a touch worse, and I think he'll actually get himself into a decent spot, and there might be a few of these leaders that take each other on. So I think he'll run a massive race 10, number 5, Irinka Benji, and I think he might be decent enough value that you might be able to have a place heavy 1x3 sort of each way bet, but I'm happy to throw him in there as one of my best bets of Saturday night.
I like it. Have you got a roving banker for us on the night?
I do have a roving banker, and it's inarguably the strongest race of the night. Flying Zulu goes round, Mapunga Tully goes round, King Owen. They're all Group 1 finalists or winners, and it's a ripping race. But I'm going to go with another dog that made the Maturity Classic final, and throughout that series he was just had flashing lights. I speak of Vincent Bale, of course, that he was going to be an absolute star of the sport, and he's mixed his form a little bit since. He won over the 595, comes back to the 500, but I just think he's been in the deep end, and I think that'll be good for him in the long run. But in this particular race, I'm banking on Mapunga Tully, who's got box number 7 drawn directly on our outside, nailing the start, which he can do, and carting us into the race. Look, do I think that he can beat Flying Zulu, all things being equal, particularly when Flying Zulu's got box number 1? No, but do I think he can run a placing or kind of chuck him in the same race, multi, those sort of things for us as the banker for this week? I think he can. So race 6, number 6, Vincent Bale, in what is an absolute ripping free-for-all on Saturday night.
Yeah, sure is. And Quaddy races 5, 6, 7 and 8, all really good legs there on a Saturday night. How are we going to attack the quad?
I'm going to spend $36 for 100%. Of course, anyone can take it for whatever percentage they like. But first leg will be 1, 4, 7 and 8. And then going into the second leg, I've got 1, 6 and 7. Third leg, I'm going one out with the 3, who we'll talk about very shortly, and then coming home 4, 6, and 7. So as I said, $36 for 100%, and hopefully we can land that.
All right. I'll talk you through my plays and you can let me know whether I'm somewhere near it or a million miles off. I really like 2 dogs. I was so taken with Kenya All Class last week, so I'm rolling with it, and I do like Flying Zulu drawn off the inside, so I'm taking them as a multi. In race number 5, the Pat Haas Classic Final, Sunnyside Joe comes in with great form. It got the job done from the wide draw last time out. I'm a Mustang looked at the danger off box 1. It's similar setup to when they last met. So I'm just looking for history to repeat itself there with Sunnyside Joe, and I'm a Mustang as a nice place hope. And the dog that I'm also throwing in, and it's in the black book from a Rove perspective, it's often the rank outsider or close to it, and always is hitting the frame. We speak of Run for Shelter, who draws a bit awkwardly here in box number 6, but does it know how to run a hole?
Yeah, it certainly does. I definitely think that it's a night that you can probably play your same race multis or your exotics. I think with such quality throughout the whole program and so many good greyhounds in each and every race that you can rely on, and you know exactly what their traits are and what they're going to do, I think it's a perfect night to be playing those sort of things. So I'm certainly singing from the same hymn book as you, Shorty, and I reckon there's a little bit of value and a few multis and exotics that we can play throughout the night.
The other dog that I've been roving religiously of late, and it's similar, it's always a big quote, always smashing the line, is Video Referee, who draws box 6 in race number 10. But in a fairly open affair, Grand Tour has been going well. I might sort of take one skinny-ish with it up front, but then I'll go wide for a result up front. And if Video Referee can hit the line hard late, so often we see these trifectas paid north of $500, and the first 4s are regularly sort of in excess of $2,500 when these sorts of dogs can hit the frame.
Yeah, exactly right. So I reckon race 10 is prime for those sort of things with the trifectas. So you and I might have to put our heads together and come up with one and try and land it come Saturday night.
Love it. Sounds good. All right, so the very best, I would suggest we're heading to race number 7, and it is a very good 730-metre staying affair for the very best.
Yeah, it is. Race 7, number 3, Reiterate. He's going to be my play of the week. Look, this bloke's staying assignments have been much tougher asks than the one that he faces here. And while I don't think he loves a huge amount of pressure, I don't think he's going to get much pressure here. The only other dog that I think can probably go with him early is drawn directly to his inside and distracting from box number 2, who I think is a bit of a query at this distance. And Reiterate's run some absolutely enormous times over the 600 metres here. It went on the arm. And if he finds the arm here, which I'm mapping him to, or not far away from it, then I think he can run a really nice race and get the job done in what seems to be a simpler task than what he's faced in his 700-metre career to date.
Excellent. We'll be getting around the white rug. Race 7, number 3, a Reiterate, $100 on the win for our man Corey Smith. And Corey, you're a busy man work-wise. You'll be out there at the Meadows on Saturday night, keeping things ticking over and entertaining everyone that comes to the track, as well as making sure everything runs smoothly. And then you're backing up because we love the straight-up racing there at Healesville. James Vandermart does a great job calling all of the action there at Healesville, and it's the big Healesville Cup meeting to look forward to. We can have a punt on it on Sunday.
Yeah, we certainly will be. I'm looking forward to heading out there. It's the most picturesque track that I've ever been to, Healesville. It's a beautiful place to go. It's a beautiful trip down there until you get stuck behind the slow Sunday drivers, and then my road rage kicks in. But no, it's going to be a ripping day out there at Healesville. And you touched on James there, who's always calling the action. He's been doing it for as long as I remember listening to Healesville Greyhounds, but he's not going to be calling this Sunday because he's got a dog. Well, his much better half, has got a dog in the final in Spot Fox from box number 3. So good luck to the whole Vandermark clan, and I'll always have a bit of a soft spot if they can get the job done, but it's going to be a ripping race. There's so many dogs in it that are just incredibly fast up the straight. All of the dogs in the field have broken 19 seconds in the heats, which is just unheard of, unfathomable if you ask me. So it's going to be an absolute ripper, but you could make a case for most of them in the final.
It sounds like it's going to be a big weekend upcoming for you, Corey. We really appreciate you taking some time out of your very busy day to join us here on the Jet Set podcast. Have a ripper weekend and look forward to our chat next week.
Thank you very much, Shorty. Hopefully Train actually pulls his finger out and turns up next week.
We'll be trying to get him back. Good on you, mate.
Too easy, mate.
Have a great weekend. Thanks, Corey. Bye.
All right, bye.
On the TABtouch Greyhound Jet Set, here are the Darwin tips with Bones Harman.
Time now to have a look at this program at Wentworth Park, Darwin on Sunday afternoon. The man finding us the winners, as always, Andrew Bones Harman. Hello, Bonesy. How do we find you today?
G'day, Shorty. I'm very well, mate. How are you?
I'm really excited. Obviously, footy finals. Before we get into your Darwin Cup, Darwin program tips, what about that last night? I must admit, I was expecting Port Adelaide at home to potentially have midfield dominance and be very hard to beat, and it was nothing like that. All credit to Geelong. What an incredible organisation they are. They just regenerate their list so quickly. There seems to be no gutting out like most clubs have to do, and they're right back there in contention for another year.
Yeah, they're a freak show, Geelong, aren't they? And I tell you what, Port Adelaide, as good as Port Adelaide can be when it comes to finals or big moments, don't they just fall in a heap? That was unbelievable from them last night. Really
disappointing, and obviously, to come out of it now, rib issues for Zach Butters. Really, I felt for Charlie Dixon last night. I've been a really big fan of him over the years, and the only reason why he probably potentially is so slow and tough to find the ball now is because he's put his body through hell and back. He's been such a battering ram over the duration throughout the course of his AFL career, but he really, you could see the mind wanting to do stuff and the body maybe not letting him help out there last night. But gee, the disposal inside forward 50 was just disgusting. They kept wanting to bomb the ball in.
Yeah, he's in big trouble. Old Charlie, he looked sore. It looked really tough. It was actually hard to watch him go around like that last night, and it won't get that much easier for them. They'll play the winner of tonight's game. Is that right?
Yes, that's correct. So that's going to be, it's an absolute shame that either the Hawks or Dogs are going to be gonzo after tonight, because they've probably laid claims to being, two of the hottest 3 or 4 sides in the comp over the last 3 months, and an absolute pleasure to watch. So it's going to be a cracking final. Can't wait for it. Good luck to your boys in the prelim this weekend as well, Bonesy. But let's get down to business. See if we can't find the listeners a few winners for Wentworth Park on Sunday. We've got the 8-race card. There's most of the regular suspects going around again on this Sunday afternoon.
Yeah, correct. Most of them going around, and the Wentworth Cup's on with, Flip Your 50 is going to be a pretty big favourite in that one. But you know what? In an 8-dog field, it hasn't been jumping superbly, relies on its muscle to get itself out of trouble. I can see some of the dogs out wide in 6, 7 and 8 potentially getting a bit of a break and being hard to run down. So when the markets come out, I certainly wouldn't be taking anything short about Flip Your 50. And if there's dogs in 6, 7 and 8 that take your fancy, have a little go at some of them.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's pretty sage advice. Let's go through your better bets on the card. Where are we going to kick it off?
Yeah, we'll kick it off in race 1 again this week. And race 1, number 5, it's Sox Lala. So we had a go at Soxy the other week, and she came second to Not Bad Yourself, who ran a 6-length PB that day. And Not Bad Yourself ended up in Wentworth Cup and is one of the dogs out wide that we were just speaking of. So the form looks fine. Miley on Fire is drawn low and is one of the better starters in that race, but struggles to hold on late and got run down midweek. So I'm backing Sox to get over the top late, and a 2 and 5 Quinella would also be a smart play as well if you're looking to make a bit of money there.
I like it, yep. So we'll go with Miley on Fire to be up there and potentially coming back late, and Soxy swooping home all over the top. Race 1, number 5, Sox Lala will roll a 2 and 5 Quinella out of the first as well. On to the second of your key plays.
Yeah, another dog we're backing up with, and it's Prime Billy. We spoke about him last week, and not a lot really went right for Prime Billy. Didn't jump amazingly well. He battled on for third, but it's worth noting that the winner of that race, Our Therapy, ran second to Omar Manelli midweek, which is fantastic form. And Kelmar Soxy had a win as well. So the form stacks up fine. I think the 5-3-7 start gives it a lot more room to muster. And it's really only got Zipping Digby on the insiders. I think it's danger. Zipping Digby will be super strong. And again, we can probably go the 2-5 Quinella as well there. but we'll put Prime Billy on top. I don't want to jump off him just yet.
No, I'm with you. We know the dog from here in WA. It just needs to be one of these nights where, like you say, identifying the race where it can get a clear lead without having to sort of work too hard. And this may well be that particular race. Let's hope it is. And generally in that capacity, Prime Billy can run the sort of time that should be a bit slippery for these.
Yeah, correct. And yeah, like I said, Zipping Digby probably has the talent too, but look, we can't jump off Prime Billy just yet.
And it's been going around that $5-6 mark. So, if it happens to land in the next couple, we've backed it 3 times. It's nothing wrong with taking an average of $2 over 3 bets. We'll be getting around Prime Billy in race 3, number 5, again with a 2 and 5 Quinella. And are we getting to midnight and hollering at the moon for the third of our picks?
I did look at Wolfman, but I was really scared about the inside draw. He hasn't jumped electrically well, and I thought if he got cluttered up, look, there's no doubt that Wolfman's the best dog in that race. But I have a feeling it'll come up short, and I just want to see it start jumping before I back it on the inside draw. I'm going to go with race 4, number 4, Roma Blue. Now, if there's one thing that's certain in Darwin, it's that when Roma Blue takes the track, it runs top 3. 69 starts, and I think it's only missed the place 7 times. Now, it's a 5-dog field, so you'd expect that to probably happen again. But it's a good race. Quick Shadow, the GOAT of Darwin, it's in its 100th race in box 1. That's won 51 times.
Wow.
It's getting a lit. When it first rocked up a couple of years ago in Darwin, it was almost unbeatable. Track record holder, it's done it all. Getting a little bit longer in the tooth, but still winning 3-1-2s here and there.
Used to love box 8. It was always a moral when it drew the pink, wasn't it?
Yeah, 100%. Just any place to room and move, it would never get beaten. There's a newcomer in that race, Sparks Chance from Temora. I've had a little look at a couple of replays. It seems like it's a little bit slow out and musters up. So I'm willing to risk that as well. But all this sort of leads me to think we might get a little bit of price about Roma Blue. Now, word of warning, it may have a little bit of a think late. It's probably a nose up, nose down selection. But if we've got a TABtouch super pick, I think at the price, he's definitely going to be worth a shot. And it could just be his night to get the nose down at the right time, Roma Blue.
Money back second, and of course you can use novelties to your advantage as well with dogs like Roma Blue, and you can back it if it's at a nice price straight out, and then play the novelties around it for it to run sort of second and third. And even though they're only small fields, Bones, so often see some really healthy novelty dividends, particularly if you can get a favourite beat, and you still see trifectas around 80 to 100, over $100, often in fields of 5, which is difficult to get your head around at times because it's so much cheaper to get multiple unit combinations in with such small fields.
Yeah, very much so. And with a dog like Roma Blue, it's going to put itself in the race. So I'm happy to have a little bit of a crack at it, and I think there's going to be a price around it.
Magnificent. So we've got race 1, number 5, Sox Lala, race 3, number 5, Prime Billy, and race 4, number 4, Aroma Blue. We can also take the Quinellas with a 2 and 5 in race number 1 and 2 and 5 in race number 3. Mandurah Cup heats tonight down there, Bonesy. I'm not sure if you had a chance to see those, but wow, they are steaming hot. Races 5, 6, 7 and 8 tonight there at the Coastal Circuit are going to be some sort of races.
Absolutely, mate. We'll be tuning in all night tonight at Mandurah. It looks like an absolutely ripping card down there. Mandurah Cup never really fails to deliver.
Yeah, it's a great race. Group 2, the biggest race of the year there at Mandurah, and we've had some really good previews of those features on the Jet Set today. Bonesy, you've been outstanding as always. Thanks so much for your time here on the Jet Set. We'll be getting around these dogs at Darwin. Good luck to the boys in the prelim on a Saturday, and we look forward to our chat again next week here on the Jet Set.
Thanks very much, Shorty. Always a pleasure, and good luck on the punt this weekend.
And that brings to a close the TABtouch Greyhound Jet Set for this week. Thanks so much for your company. Hopefully plenty of winners to come out of the show for today. Big thanks to the train over there in South Australia. Make sure you get behind his 2 runners there next Thursday, Iconic Jet and Rippin' Moses. To our man Jaycin Campbell, also Corey Smith from the Meadows, Bones Harman, all the kennel mail from Lukey Townsend and the Credellis. It's all been here today on the Jet Set podcast. Rounded to get out, hopefully can put a bit of a smile on your dial. A woman with small breasts buys an old mirror from an antique shop and hangs it on her bathroom door. The next morning, she playfully says, "Mirror, mirror on the door, make my boob size 44. There, in a flash of light, her boobs grow to enormous proportions. She immediately runs down to her husband and tells him the startling news. They both go upstairs to the bathroom, and the husband crosses his fingers and says, "Mirror, mirror on the door, make my penis touch the floor." There was a flash of light, and both of his legs fell off. So probably not what he was looking for the old extender, but you've got to say, once again, the genie's come through with the promise. Hope that puts a smile on your dial for this upcoming weekend. Thanks for joining us here on the Jet Set. Wishing you all many winners over the course of the weekend. Go and fill up those TABtouch accounts. Do it responsibly. We'll catch you again this time next week for our next edition of the TABtouch Greyhound Jet Set.
Thank you for joining us for this week's edition of the TABtouch Greyhound Jet Set. Be sure to share and retweet the show to help grow our community. Into 'em, punters.
What are you really gambling with? For free and confidential support, call the number on the screen or visit the website.